This portion of the CU podcast is brought to you by RexMD. Going to the doctor, setting up appointments, it can be annoying. It can take a lot of time. Sometimes you have issues that you don't want to speak about with your personal doctor. Here's the thing. Most men's health issues have really simple solutions. RexMD is all about simple solutions.
RexMD makes getting generic and branded Viagra or Cialis easy. Everything's online, even the prescription, and they deliver to your door. There's no office visits, no talking to a receptionist. It's super simple. Did you know Viagra can cost around $90 a pill? RexMD has generic Viagra for as low as just $2 a pill. Just fill out a quick medical questionnaire on their website, and a doctor will review your situation and prescribe you generic Viagra if appropriate. Your medication gets shipped right to your door with free 2-day shipping. It's fast, simple, and cheap, and you can access your U.S. licensed RexMD physician anytime you need to afterwards.
RexMD has helped over 300,000 guys get generic Viagra quickly and conveniently. RexMD just works, and it works the very first night. You don't want to get in a situation where you wish you had it and you don't. Act now. Take advantage of their deal by heading to rexmd.com/CU podcast. Our exclusive deal will save up to 90% off, where you'll pay as low as $2 per dose on generic Viagra instead of $90 plus on Viagra. Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are now available for our listeners to get started. That's rexmd.com/CU podcast for up to 90% off plus a free gift. Your partner will thank you. Talk about Atari, Ian?
Sure. What do you got to say? What do we got to say about Atari? Well, they're crowdfunding for game dev.
Our favorite game and it is crowdfunding, Tommy. Republic or Fig, same company.
VentureBeat has said that Atari said that Republic has launched a private investment crowdfunding campaign giving individuals a chance to invest in future Atari games. The Atari Game Pool, the investments will give individuals the opportunity to invest in new titles.
Yeah.
And yeah, all the funds that they raise will go into funding new titles from Atari. Lowy said, there's a lot of interest in our games, and we have a number of games under development already. Adding more allows us to take on larger projects sooner.
All right. I understand Atari, you have a publicly traded company at this point. You got to make money. You got to find new ways to do it. This is just, I just don't see this leading to a proper end. You just had Atari 50 come out, which is to me, the culmination of the height of what you can do with the Atari properties, with the great historical background, archive footage, new interviews, updated games, reimagined games.
Fun ones too.
Yeah.
I like Vector Sector, and I love playing the Yard's Revenge on that is my fucking favorite because it's not even an update. It's literally the exact same game buzzing underneath it. It's just a different graphical layer. You can even switch between the fun graphics and So, I mean, but I agree. I don't think there's much more you can do with that era of Atari. They did it.
So then what are you looking at? And plus they just did the Atari reimagined Recharge games, which I still have to get the Asteroids one. They did Centipede. They did
and I want to play the Breakout one. So I'll play the Yars one too.
But notice we keep saying the same games.
Yes, because Atari, and I always used to say this when I worked at Luna, Atari did not make a lot of great games for home systems. What they did well was arcade games with unique controls that did not translate well.
What these are, we'll just say these are the legacy games to this point that are well known to people, gamers, not just casual people, are still fun to play, that in terms of you can play it for an hour, not just a few minutes and you're done. Like Adventure, you play it for a few minutes, this is nice, you're done. What are those games that are profitable or marketable that Atari has?
Centipede. Yars Revenge.
I will give that to you, but barely, just because people don't know about it like the other stuff.
I feel like they do now.
Okay.
It was certainly very popular back then.
Back then, but not now. Okay.
But in terms of what they can do.
Asteroids.
Sure.
Missile Command. Probably.
Yes. I love Breakout games, but you got to do something more than just Breakout.
Those are the 5. Probably, right? That we can probably, and Yards.
I think we can agree agree enough on those.
If you want to say Warlords, I will say no, because
I will not. I love Warlords, but I mean, that needs control.
And because obviously these are games they've remade with the Recharge. They remade Missile Command, Asteroids, and they remade Breakout
and Haunted House.
but that's on our list. That no one.
No.
There's 5 marketable Atari games left after 40 years or 50 years of Atari.
Adventure
There's
for the
5.
nostalgia.
But not for the game. Like
No, not for game.
There's 5 games left that Atari can
for
profit
gameplay.
on. 5 games that Atari can profit on. And people will probably argue against a couple of those overall. There might be only 3. I'm just saying, like,
I think those 5 are pretty solid.
but I say at the most.
You can
At
argue
most.
against Breakout.
Or I can argue against yours.
I don't think you can argue against your.
There's 5 at most. So what's Atari looking to do here? Atari is looking to come up with brand new IPs at this date. Then what are you doing then? Are you going to create new arcade games that are similar to these in the past? Are you going to top these arcade experiences that are well beloved, that are 45 years old? I don't know if you can do that easily. I just don't know.
No.
I'm not saying you can't come up with some good idea, but like,
It's not the same brains, and a lot of those games were built off of the limitations. Yars' Revenge is exactly what it is precisely because of limitations.
yes.
And it's great because
what
of
did you say? Limitations twice? Okay, sure.
it.
So these are $500 shares. And remember, this is just like the intelligence thing. You're not investing in the company. You're investing into profit shares that are.
Yeah, this isn't real investing.
Someone even mentioned in the comments that Digital Eclipse did one of these things. They did one of these offerings. I should have got in early before that Atari 50 if I didn't know that was going to be as successful as it was. So this is the highlights of the Atari company. An opportunity to invest in the success of new Atari games. An iconic global brand with deep roots in pop culture. All right. A passionate multi-generational fan base. Actively commercializing a rich catalog of more than 200 game IPs. Yes, of like 6 or 7 that people know or care about. Sure.
Tempest.
For gameplay, yes, but no one. It's not like a well-known game.
I mean, it keeps getting remade. Another one just came out.
That's B tier. Anyway, I love Tempest. Universally recognized brands, including Asteroids is not a brand. Adventure is not a brand. These are games. They're not brands.
They're not brands.
Centipede's not a brand. They're not. Atari's a brand.
Yes.
Games are not brands unless it's like Super Mario Brothers, like something that huge. These are simple games without characters. They're not brands. And I love Asteroids so much. Working with premier game studios to create new games based on classic IPs. I don't know who they're working with, but
no one.
So this is a weird offering.
Yeah, it is.
Because you're going to count on this company that went down the rabbit hole of the good old speaker hat, the Atari Watch, Atari Crypto, Atari Hotel and Casino, and the good old VCS. You're going to trust these brainchilds.
Why didn't we get Atari Family Restaurants?
I would have liked that. A themed restaurant in Vegas.
All your tables are just cocktail tables.
You're going to trust these folks with coming up with brand new stuff. Remember, Atari 50, Digital Eclipse has done great work. It's like, hey, create a historical document with all our awesome games that we have because we don't know what we're doing. You guys do it, and they did a great job. Now you're trusting them to come up with new stuff. I just don't personally see it happening. I'm going to be cynical, Pat. I just don't see it happening. I think blood from a stone. What's the new expression? Pus from a rock at this point. We are past that point where it's like, what are we actually like? It's not to say that these games can't be good that are being made, but at this point, it's not Atari it's not Atari related.
Right.
Atari to me is like, well, how does it relate to the brand of the past?
Well, to do that, you would have to make another remake of one of those 5 or 6 games we've talked about.
Done a billion times.
But as soon as they make their new games, it's not going to feel like it. Atari is at this point, I think, firmly rooted in a retro feeling.
Sure.
New games from Atari, especially if they're 3D, if they're not like, homebrew style, like Atari games, if they're not indie style, if they're trying to make games to compete on the modern market, the Atari branding means nothing.
So they have their list of IPs. Do they have the rights to Roller Coaster Tycoon still?
They have for a long, long time. That was one of the few things they did on...
But they still do? That wasn't sold off at some point?
No.
Because if that's the point, then yeah, there should be a new game of that. If they still own the rights, why hasn't there been?
Well, we talked about it years ago, but I think it was like a Republic or Fig thing where Atari was trying to get people to buy into shares for a new Roller Coaster Tycoon game.
Oh, did it take off?
And it failed horribly.
Okay.
We did cover it, but it was a while back.
So they still own the rights to that. The last release, they did a puzzle game in 2020. What was that? Was that just like an app?
Probably.
The last real game, wow, it's been a long time. since the last real game. They did mobile games forever, it looks like.
They talked about the one that I think they were trying to crowdfund was, I believe, supposed to get its first release on the VCS. It was supposed to be like a VCS timed exclusive, and it never happened.
Okay, so the one Tycoon World in 2016 was a different type of game. It looks like these are a bunch of mobile spin-offs and stuff. These don't count. Free to play, yeah. So they haven't had a real roller coaster tycoon game in like 10 years. 3D.
I never played them, but those always seem like super popular, and I feel like they'd be fun.
I think I played a little bit of one in college. They're fine. Seeing people throw up as they're getting off the rides.
I played Theme Park a lot. I played the shit out of Theme Park.
So they list combat, which I love combat, but that's not making our 5 list. And neither is Major Havoc or Crystal Castles.
No, we can all agree on that.
They're not. They're just not. Star Raiders is not. No one knows Star Raiders. I'm sorry.
I fucking love Star Raiders, but yeah.
No one knows Star Raiders.
I mean, it was the biggest shit on the market until like 1985.
So they do list top studios in the world. They list Digital Eclipse, who obviously came out with Atari 50. Doesn't mean they're going to get them on board with a new game, but they list them. Way Forward is listed. Dreams Incorporated. Dreams Uncorporated. You ever hear of them? I'll look them up.
No.
Illogica, Orbit Studio, and Sneaky Box are listed as potential partners.
Okay, so Digital Eclipse, yay. And what was the other one? Oh, Way Forward. Way Forward's really turned, like, my opinion of Way Forward has definitely turned around into the positive. So if they've got good developers, there's definitely some good games to be made, but again, are we making new IP, or are we just going back and trudging up the past? Are we going to get a new Major Havoc? Like, I mean,
Major Havoc, the next generation.
No, but this is my question. So, like, we've got some developers in place to make good stuff, but what are we making?
Yes. If you invest $500 or more, you get a limited edition Atari T-shirt. Holy shit! For the first 400 investors, invest $5,000 or more to receive a limited edition Atari 2600 game cartridge of the classic game Fatal Run. Are you familiar with Fatal Run?
I am, but only because of like one of these collections, and I think it might have been that's the car game, right?
I never heard it before.
It is. I think it is.
That was on the original 2600?
Yeah.
Fatal Run.
Yep, it was. So I played that on one of the Evercade cartridges, and it's actually pretty neat, but that's not like a legendary game that everyone talks about. It was a 1990 game.
It came out in 90.
Yeah. It's probably
the most 90.
It's the most technically advanced 2600 game you'll see.
That's not a classic.
But no, it's not.
I never heard of it before.
It's absolutely not.
It came out in 2690. Well, I think the last year, the
7800 one is there's a lot more going on, but the 2600 one's crazy. Like, you play it and you're like, this is
advanced.
It plays like Rad Racer, like very convincing Rad Racer type stuff. Not as nice looking.
Here's the point: it's not classic. I just think
no.
Why are they offering that game for? Like, just a random game that
because people know of it as
like
I think it's because they know it's technical. It's a technical showcase for the 2600.
It wouldn't get me to put in my 5,000.
But no, sir.
Reimagine Atari games for the next generation by collaborating with Atari.
Okay, so reimagining is what they're saying.
FIG intends to provide the funding necessary for Atari to leverage its massive portfolio of video game IPs and partner with outstanding game developers. Okay, shut up. All right. And they show, okay, this is not good. First of all, this isn't going to be funded, I don't think. They're at $200,000 now. The minimum is $1 million. You should be lucky you get $200,000. Why is the minimum $1 million on this? There's 114 days left. They'll say, hey, maybe someone out there will put in $500. Be very careful when you read the disclosure and see how much you're actually getting, because some of these are probably better than others in terms of what you're actually getting. I saw one person comment that like you only have until 2027 to get your money back. That was in the discussion. So that means you have like 4 years.
Well, that's always in these, because I remember there was for the Intellivision one, it was like you had 3 years to make your money back from the time I think it was that you invested, and then it was out.
It was just ridiculous timelines. Plus, that was just an awful deal, the Intellivision one.
Sure.
I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure some of these, like I'm sure the Digital Eclipse one, it was probably better than some of these other ones.
I'm sure.
On these the more ethical companies. But this one said the terms show that even if funds are used to make a game, if it's not paid out by 2027, it's not going to be paid out. What development cycles on large games I'm feeling like the window to earn a return on this is quite small. Am I missing something that should change my mind? I'm passing on this. So like, there's people asking proper questions about this. Like, what are you doing here? Like, why does this run out? Like, does a pool of money then run out? Like that's the thing. Like, you got to be careful when you look at some of these things. You really do.
So it sounds like they're trying to get a pool of money together to hire developers to make games that will be published by Atari. But Atari doesn't have the money to do it, so they're resulting to crowdfunding because they think that the world must need these Atari games.
Shouldn't you just be focusing on these smaller type of titles like Recharge? Those aren't games that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Shouldn't you just be doing these smaller games? And that's what I would
want to see. Okay, so we joke about Crystal Castles and for good reason, but I like Digital Eclipse does really good versions of old stuff. They have fun with it. I'd play that. I don't need like a big expansive thing. And now that I think about it, I like Way Forward, but one of the things Way Forward is most known for is excellent sprite work.
Okay.
What Atari game is going to need that level of detail that Way Forward puts into? Like, I can't think of any Atari game that would look right in that style. Like, I feel like all those old Atari games do best when they're reimagined in a pseudo-retro style.
I mean, some are vector graphics that look best as vector graphics.
Right.
So, what are you going to do with that? How are you going to modernize Tempest, really?
Yeah. So, I like Way Forward, but I can't see their style being used properly on an Atari property.
This portfolio seeks to return 2 to 3 times in 5 years. So, they're thinking by 2028, I guess, whatever the cutoff is. Capital to be deployed 12 to 24 months before made. A year to get going after the money's given. Or capital be deployed back to me in 12 to 24 months. That's not clear. If you're telling me I'm going to see money in a year, that sounds more reasonable because if these are simple remakes, these games should not take 2-3 years to put these games out.
Sure.
They should not. Like the Atari 50, those are simple remakes of those games that they did in conjunction with doing everything else. Like I said, you can have some of these games.
And I think that shows you what you can do with what I'm assuming was probably a condensed development schedule and low money on that end.
Yeah.
And they still put out these great remakes.
Yeah, probably teams of one person, maybe 2 in some cases, putting out these remakes.
Vector Sector is fucking fantastic. Yeah, I love Vector Sector.
Yeah, I liked it. Well, we thought this was the end of the line. I guess not with Atari. They're going to try. Nolan's still on as a strategic advisor. Where's Jay Allard? Is he on this list here? There's the CEO, Wade Rosen. What are you laughing for?
Listen, you.
I was thinking of Three Stooges. Listen, you. The Three Stooges line. Well, like I said, I'm not gonna say they can't put out a good game, but be very careful when you invest in this stuff. Just be very careful.
I think they can absolutely put together a good game. It's whether or not it's going to have like I said, those first 2 developers, I got faith in them, but are you going to pick a property that people are going to care about?
It has as a sell.
Right. That's what I'm saying. We've covered so much weird bullshit here that we really are kind of poisoned sometimes, even though we always say it, into thinking, well, if it comes out, that's the end of it. It's like, no,
it has to sell.
Yeah, it has to sell too.
I'm sure, honestly, I'd love to see the numbers on the Recharge games.
I would too,
how
because
much did those actually sell?
If they kept doing that, I think they would be okay.
But they did 3 out of our 5. There's not many left to do. They could do the Yars Revenge Recharged.
They did that.
They did do Yars?
And it looks great.
So they did 4 Recharged. Yeah. I thought they only did 3.
No, they did Asteroids, Missile Command, Breakout, Gravatar.
Okay.
Black Widow.
That's right, they did Black Widow. You're right.
And I'm missing one.
So they did a handful of them.
Yeah, they did. I think 5 or 6.
So they didn't do Adventure doesn't make our list.
Well, no, because if you try to remake Adventure and you just end up with Zelda, you can't do anything with Adventure. You can't make
the pixel better.
Superseded.
Yeah, make that Duck Dragon look better.
Recharged. Let's see.
That's the thing. It's when you're investing in this.
Oh, okay. So Asteroids, Yars, Centipede,
Black Widow,
Breakout, and then Missile Command, Black Widow.
That's 6.
Yeah,
I
thought Gravatar had one, but I guess I was wrong.
Well,
no, Gravatar. It's called Gravatar Recharged.
That's already in vector graphics form. How do they make that look more vectory?
Oh yeah. So how did I miss that? Oh, microvolts that's not an Atari one.
So that's what I mean. I love to see the numbers. How many of these do these sell at 10,000 units? Do they sell 5,000? You know what I mean? Did they sell 2,000? What are the numbers on these Recharge?
Yeah, 7 of them. So what I was checking for those,
is there a pack of them? Can I just buy them all?
No, I wanted to look and see if there was any that were yet to come out, coming soon, and I don't see any more. So I wonder if they're done doing those.
Oh, there was a collection put out, a limited run Atari Recharge collection.
Oh, I think it was 4.
There was a few of them.
I think it was a few for one and a few for another.
Is that what it was?
2 volumes?
They did 2 collections.
Yeah, that's it.
I didn't know about that. I might have gone in on that one, the one that had asteroids, to be honest.
I meant to do those and I didn't.
Wow, I would have done that. It was $35 for one, 60 for both. It looks like.
So one of them only got 4 titles and one got 3, or am I missing one of those somewhere?
I'll look right now. Both are for 70. There's no savings on the Switch version.
Okay.
Let's see. What did you get here? Yeah, you know what? I don't own any limited run stuff, which I think is hysterical, being that I talk to the owner once in a while. Let's see. Why does the website not have the details? Does it have the details of the games? There's Black Widow. There's Breakout. That's not Breakout. What game is that? I can't tell what game that is. Oh, is that a Centipede game? Why does it look like that? I can't even tell. What? I'm just looking for I think it's 3 games on each. I think it's 3 on each.
Okay, so one of them probably wasn't there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here they are. Okay, Collection 2 only has Black Widow Recharge and Centipede. It only has 2 on it, and the other one has only has Asteroids and Centipede.
Oh,
so those 4 total: Asteroids, Breakout, Black Widow, and Centipede.
So it's not the full set.
Man, really? That's interesting. That's not limited run's decision, by the way. That would be the decision of Atari on what to do with that when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, they should. If it was like all of them for like $35, I'd buy it.
Sure,
I would in a heartbeat. I would do that. Yeah, I love to see what the sales are for the digital. Physical limited run will sell out of most of their stuff. So yeah. Hey, what would you want? If you were CEO, Ian, what would you do with Atari? We'll end on that. Like, what if you had your druthers in Atari land? What would you do at this point with the properties? Is there much left to do? Would you do?
No, I mean, as much as I'm we're kind of making
new
fun of
flashback.
This. I don't think I don't know that I would do anything different if I was in this position. I was told you have to do something, because I don't think making brand new games out of whole cloth is a good idea for Atari at this point.
Okay.
I don't think they have the money behind it. I don't think they'll get the brand recognition. I don't think the brand will do anything. So all you can do is keep pulling from your past.
No Bentley Bear animated series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Atari has been mostly dormant for so long, and their brand, if you talk to anyone about Atari, they're going to, the latest memory of Atari they're probably going to realistically have is the Jaguar, and I mean, that's for some people. For most people, it's going to be some indeterminate box that played an Atari game in the middle of the 80s. An Atari 800, a 2600, a 78, a 52, something like that. So all I'm saying is I don't know what they could do to make themselves relevant in modern times other than cash in on their nostalgia.
Unless people associate Roller Coaster Tycoon with Atari, but probably most people do not.
No, you didn't even know if they still had the license.
I didn't know.
Right. I don't know.
Because that was during the time when, like, for example, like Atari published one of the Unreal tournaments that they had nothing to do with development, but they were like a publisher for somehow. I think one of them. It was just like, okay, they're doing publishing at this point for some reason on the computer. But like, that could have been, that was a spin-off company. It wasn't the current company. So I don't know. I'm shocked. I'm kind of shocked about Roller Coaster Tycoon, because to me, you can do an updated Roller Coaster Tycoon probably on the Switch and it would sell, because that's a modern game.
Right. That's right. Exactly. They have very little in that modern game catalog.
Yeah, the last one on Steam. You can buy it on Steam for $6, the original. Publisher, Atari. Okay, they have the right. If the current Atari has rights, there you go. Updated Roller Coaster Tycoon. Make it fun. There you go. That's what I would do. Other than that, I can't help you out.
Yeah.
A new Ninja Golf is not gonna cut it, probably.
I'd play the fuck out of a new Ninja Golf.
A Lynx Mini. There you go. A Lynx with built-in games. There you go. There you go. Do something with the Lynx.
They have. They've licensed it off to Evercade, so Evercade releases Lynx cartridges.
No, I get it, but do like a little handheld.
Sure.
Why not? There you go. I'd be into it.